there, my name is Maxine Brewster and I'm currently a lower key stage 2 teacher here at Nlcs Jeju. That means that I currently teach year 4. Before moving to Jeju, I used to work in the United Kingdom. I studied my undergraduate degree at the University of Gloucestershire and then moved on to St Mary's, Twickenham to study my primary PGCE. Here at Nlcs Jeju, I'm not only a year 4 teacher, I am also curriculum leader for Pshe. That means that I have to make sure that all of the teachers are meeting the aims and objectives of this very important subject. So today I am here to talk to you about a UK-based approach to pastoral-led Pshe sessions. As you can see, here are the aims of this presentation. Today I want to explain to you how the UK introduced Pshe into their current curriculum. I want to broaden your knowledge of what Pshe is and to explain how the Pshe documentation focuses on the core strands. I also want to talk to you about how to plan a Pshe-focused lesson based around the children, and as well, how to assess children's learning in Pshe. So, Pshe stands for Personal, Social, Health Education, and that all comes under the umbrella term of citizenship. So, personal is all about the child, how the child learns about their own personal skills. Social is how the child learns to be sociable with other members of the community. That might be their peers in the classroom, their classroom teachers, but it also broadens to their family and their friends at home and the people in the wider community that they may come across as they grow older. Health refers to the child's own personal health. So what they are eating, their diet, making sure that they have a balanced diet, and also teaching them about their mind and making sure that they also have a healthy mind. And finally, education is in there to make sure that everything they learn under the umbrella term of Pshe comes all back together to their education. So the Department for Education say that citizenship is a non-statutory part of the curriculum. That means that schools are not required to follow it, unlike the other subjects of maths, English, history, geography, science, art, design technology, music and physical education. As you can see here, I've put Pshe in red because although it's not a statutory requirement as of the DFE, it is still a very important subject which can link with all of these other subjects. So, just to broaden your knowledge and skills and understanding of Pshe, this is what the Department of Education brings out the strands into. So, when learning about Pshe, the children have to learn about these 5 strands. The first strand is developing confidence and responsibility and making the most of their abilities. Preparing to play an active role as a citizen. Having a healthy, safer lifestyle. Developing good relationships and respecting the differences between people. And breadth of opportunities. So here you can see these are the 5 strands that the Department for Education put under the umbrella term of citizenship and Pshe. In schools, they use this documentation to help them plan objectives. So from the previous slide, these 5 strands are then broken down into 2 different key stages. So key stage 1 encompasses year 1 and 2, and key stage 2 encompasses year 3, 4, 5 and 6. Now, I'd like to go into a little bit more detail about these objectives. As you can see in key stage 1, the first objective for developing confidence, responsibility and making the most of each child's ability is to recognise what the children like and dislike, and to make sure that they understand what is fair and unfair as well as right and wrong. Although this sounds quite simple and you would like to think that most children already know that, it's very important that that is an explicit term and that we make sure that children always understand that. The second one is to share their opinions, to make sure that not only children are able to express what they like and dislike, but to make sure that they can share that with their friends, their family, and their classroom teacher. Thirdly, recognising, naming, and dealing with their feelings in a positive way. Children are full of emotions and feelings, so making sure that they can turn those emotions into something positive when expressing them is very important. To think about themselves, learning from their experiences, to recognise what they are good at. So making sure that children are aware of those positive things that they have done and to be able to show off about them, to be able to say, oh yes, I did this and I'm really proud of myself because of that. And finally, in Key Stage 1, it's very important that under this strand of developing confidence, that they are able to set goals for the future. So this will happen down in Key Stage 1, but then it is moved on to Key Stage 2, and you can see that the objectives have got slightly bigger. They do encompass these objectives, but they've got slightly bigger and broader, so the children have got more expectations upon them. You can see in Key Stage 2, they are expected to not only talk about their likes and dislikes, but to also be able to write and talk about their opinions. Not only should they be able to talk about it, but they should be able to express their opinions and their views. But not only just to make a statement, but to be able to follow it up. Their views, particularly on the issues that affect themselves and their society as a whole. We now move on to recognising their self-worth. This is very, very important for children. And you would like to think that all children have self-worth and are able to express why they are proud of themselves. But this is not always the case. And it's very important for classroom teachers to show children how to do this in a positive way. They should be able to express their achievements, to share their mistakes, and to be able to learn from their mistakes to set personal goals. Moving forward, these goals should then turn into challenges. So a child might set themselves a goal. It might be a mistake that they've already learnt from, and they might set the goals in order to move forward from that mistake. And then they should be able to see that as a challenge, something that they can move forward towards. We will then encourage the children to positively collect information, looking for help from those people around them. Moving forward, we also want them to recognise, as in Key Stage 2 they are approaching puberty, that their emotions will change and how these emotions can affect other people, and not only themselves but their actions. This then moves forward to them learning about the range of jobs that are carried out by people that they know, and to understand how they can develop their skills to make their contribution in the future. And finally, this strand asks the children to learn the objectives of understanding how to look after their money, which is a very difficult thing to teach children. The next strand of preparing to play an active role as a citizen is also broken up into Key Stage 1 and Key Stage 2. These terms are a little bit more difficult. As you can see, it asks the children not only those learning objectives to improve themselves and what they are learning about, but how they partake in the activities. So you can see here that the first objective in Key Stage 1 is to encourage the children to take part in discussions. So to show that they have fully understood what the task is they should be sharing. This strand asks the children to make sure that they are debating in topical issues which might be surrounding the area that they live in. To recognise choices that they can make and recognise the difference between right and wrong. Quite a lot of these strands, such as the strand before and this strand, have similar objectives, and that's very, very important to recognise. We also move on to agreeing and following rules for their group and classroom and understanding how rules help them. This is a very, very important objective and something that I'll come on to later in this lecture. Every single lesson in PSHE should always have a starter of explaining to the children what the rules of the lesson are. PSHE is based around children sharing their own experiences, and therefore they need to understand the rules that come with that. For example, when children are sharing experiences within the classroom teacher should set the expectation that it is a safe space and that no other child will take out that experience that another child might have shared and share it with others in the playground. To realise that people and other living things have needs and that they have responsibilities to meet them. That they belong to various groups and communities such as family and school. And that one's very important. A little example of that one there doesn't necessarily have to just be in the lesson. Schools can encompass that through their ethos. For example, here at Nlcs Jeju, we get the children to meet this objective by making them a part of a house. We have 4 different houses here that the children are a part of, and we organise competitions for them so that they can recognise that they are not only a part of their class, they are a part of their year group, they are a part of their whole school, they are a part of their house, and that encompasses everything. So it makes sure that they really feel that they belong. As we move on to Key Stage 2, you can see that not only are we asking the children in Key Stage 2 to take part in discussions, but they also need to research and have a little look into the problems and events that might occur around topical issues. So it's getting broader, it's getting bigger. We need to have a little look about why and how rules and laws are made and enforced, why different rules are needed in different situations, and how to take part in making and changing rules. Here at Nlcs Jeju, this objective is met through our student council, and it's certainly in the UK something that is also used in order to meet this objective. The children are a part of a student council to discuss the rules of the school and to make sure that they feel as if they have a voice to work towards it. Because when children feel that they have partook in something, in the decision of a rule, they can connect to it and really understand it. To realise the consequences of antisocial and aggressive behaviours such as bullying and racism on individuals and communities. Now, within PSHE, there is often really sensitive subjects that come up, and that's something that we're going to talk about later. They have different kinds of responsibilities, rights, duties at home, at school, and in the community, and how these can sometimes conflict with one another. We ask the children to reflect on their spiritual, more social and cultural issues using imagination to understand other people's experience. So that can be summed up with the use of the word empathy. We try to encourage the children to be empathetic, to try and put themselves in another person's shoes. And that's a very difficult thing to teach. And that is one of PSHE's main focuses, to try to teach children how to be empathetic. We're also looking to try and resolve the differences of children. We're looking at what democracy is and about the basic institutions that support it locally and nationally. And finally, to recognise the role of voluntary community and pressure groups. Developing a healthy, safer lifestyle is very important in PSHE. As you can see on the right-hand side of Key Stage 2, the objectives are again slightly bigger, and you can also see in comparison to our previous strands, there are a lot more objectives because it is very important and certainly a school's role to teach the children about how to live a healthy and safe lifestyle. First of all, we have making simple choices to improve children's health and well-being. We start with that with food, and we try to teach our children here at NLCS when we're in the cafeteria. What is the correct choice to make? Is going back for a third round of spaghetti the best choice to make, or going for fruit? So those simple choices are what we try to teach them here. To maintain personal hygiene, that includes brushing their teeth. Down in Year 2 in Key Stage 1, they recently had a topic where they were learning how to brush their teeth, and the children all brought their toothbrushes into school and brushed their teeth with their class teacher. So something that will stick in their memory. How some diseases spread and how it can be controlled. The process of growing from young to old and how people's needs change. To meet this objective here at NLCS, what we did is we collected photographs of all of our class teachers at different stages in their lives and made it into a really fun activity to show the children how their teachers have grown up and how their faces have changed, how they have changed. To name the main parts of the body, a lot of these objectives are met under different subjects. For example, this one will be met in Key Stage 1 during science time. That all household products, including medicines, can be harmful if not used properly. Rules for and ways of keeping safe, including basic road safety and about people who help them to stay safe. These objectives are also met at home with their families. A lot of children here already know these basic objectives because their parents have spoken to them at home about it. And we are here to reinforce that. We are looking to make that bond, that link, even stronger. Finally, over on Key Stage 2, you can see that these objectives have got a little bigger. Okay? The main thing, I'm going to summarise it for you, is that we include mental health in Key Stage 2, and that's looking after the mind. We try to teach the children that it's not just about having a healthy body, it's about having a healthy mind, and about how your thoughts can really affect you, and how they need to be positive, and how to change those negative thoughts into positive ones. So about having a healthy mindset. Developing good relationships and respecting the differences between people. As you can see, once again, there are more objectives over in Key Stage 2. Over on Key Stage 1, these objectives are things that the children will already know, but once again, we are reinforcing that. Just because we think the children know that doesn't mean that we can't have that explicit link in the classroom. To recognise how their behaviour affects other people. This is an objective that can be met personally, one-to-one with a child. You might have a child in your class that is struggling out in the playground about how their behaviour is affecting other children. For example, a child might be a bit too rough with other children when playing tag, for example. The classroom teacher would have a one-to-one conversation with that child, and that would be a way of meeting that objective. Listening to other people and working cooperatively. Identifying and respecting the differences and similarities between people. That family and friends should care for one another. That there are different types of teasing and bullying, and that bullying is wrong, and how to get help to deal with bullying. A lot of schools in the UK, and certainly here at NLCS Jeju, we have a whole anti-bullying week, which focuses every single day on a different topic about teasing, about bullying, and we make sure that the children know where to go if they are being bullied, if they ever feel as if they are unhappy or unsafe whilst at school. As you can see in Key Stage 2, the objectives are slightly longer. We also just want to focus down here slightly. As you can see, the word stereotypes has crept in under Key Stage 2. And that's very important for children when they reach Key Stage 2, because that is when they start to deal with stereotypes. Teaching the children that it is okay for girls to be sporty, for girls to do certain things, and for boys that they can show their emotions and their feelings. Those are just two typical stereotypes which some children deal with. We also make sure to include where individuals, such as the children, can make sure that they can get help and support, especially from their family, their friends, and of course here at school. Finally, our final strand of breadth of opportunities. Now these, as you can see, are slightly smaller objectives. Down in Key Stage 1, it is taking and sharing responsibility, feeling positive about themselves, taking part in discussions, we've seen that one before under different strands, making real life choices, giving them the opportunity to be independent and to make those choices. Meet and talk with people, that certainly happens often at school. Develop relationships through work and play. consider social and moral dilemmas that they may come across in everyday life, and of course, how to ask for help. Finally, in Key Stage 2, these are the same objectives as over there, but it's very, very important that we recognise that they are preparing for change. We are preparing them to move up to the senior school. We're preparing them for puberty and for them to grow older. Finally, I'd like to talk to you in this part of the lecture about living in the wider world. PSHE is getting children ready to live in the world around outside them. Now, I've included 2 photos here because this is how we do this at Nlcs Jeju. Whilst we are teaching, we try to make sure that the children can access lots of different people from the world around them. Here at school, we have a medical centre with lots of very qualified nurses. When we were studying a healthy lifestyle, I arranged for the experts to speak to the children about how to keep themselves safe. This was about how the children can help somebody if they are in danger, or how they can help themselves if they find themselves injured. Over here, we have 2 of our local GEC police officers who came to visit us, and they were explaining road safety to us and how they can stay safe in the local community. This is so important as the children really grasp on to these types of experiences and make sure that that link stays with them forevermore.